Your mother. She has been waiting for you. I expect she will be thrilled to see how far you've come.
Hello. That actually doesn't give me any information as to who that is. I mean, that's going to disappear when it goes blue. You look very motherly. Ah. Well, Albie, look who it is. It's wonderful to see you both again. I never doubted you'd find each other. You both look exhausted. Let me fire up the old vessel. I'll get you back to the village in no time. Where's Dr. Gray? I thought we were going to meet him at some point. I mean, was that the person who was following it, who was showing us the way in the hood and the cloak? I'm confused. I'm confuzzled. Oh, so tired. Where are the colours? What's going on? Letter? I thought we were just going to get to credits.
You cannot always control what happens to you.
No.
But you can choose how you see it. Now you can see true colour. You must decide if it is for better or worse.
Wait, what?
I hope after all this, it is for the better.
What? Credits? Credits! Yay. I'm not, it's weird, sometimes you get this feeling like, oh, this is going to be like the last session. It feels very last session-y going to the university. And then you're like, okay, is it the last credit? Are we getting the credits? Well, yes, we're getting the credits because here they are. I was actually thinking about this because I started to get this feeling when we got to when we kind of got into the session. It's like, okay, we're getting to the end. Okay, we're wrapping up, and I started to think my thoughts, and I started to feel this felt very similar in many ways to Portal, in that the basic premise is incredibly simple. Like, you can just change the background color, and it can, if something in the foreground is the same color and merges, it doesn't exist anymore. It's now just background. And you can bring things out of the foreground into the foreground by changing the color of the background. This is very loud. And so you get that kind of impact with that, which is really very simple. And as you add the colors, it gives you a lot more to play with. They added lasers, they added the paint so that you could change what color things were. But the basic premise, similar to Portal, was very, very simple. And Portal, the basic premise is you put a portal here and a portal there, and you now can go through one portal into the other. And they play with that a lot with like momentum. And here they had a similar thing, but it was purely with color rather than kind of space-time. So, predominantly space, not really much time going on there. But it was very, very... So it was very, very simple. So it was very, very masterful in that. And kind of similar to Portal, kind of between certain parts of it, you got little elements of plot. And it wasn't like Portal 2, where the kind of plot would kind of pop up in the middle of a puzzle. But it was aiding the puzzle it was about the puzzle. So it was the puzzle, and then you kind of set up kind of why is the next puzzle coming on, why is the next puzzle going, where are you going with this, what's the point of the puzzles, kind of basically a framing device for the puzzles, similar to Portal, and it felt very similar in many of those regards in this game, and also similar to that, the music. And the music actually kind of reminds me slightly of Valiant Hearts, but that might be because of the very strong emphasis on the piano, as you can hear it. It's very, very kind of emotive in that sense. I'm still kind of confused as to the end. Like, was Dr. Grey our dad? Is that what was going on? Because I'm really confused. I think Dr. Grey was the hooded figure who was trying to lead us to our mum. I think. In a way, that's one of the problems with. Although I quite like the kind of light touch of narrative, so that it doesn't distract from the puzzles. In the same way, having very minimal puzzles, minimal plot, narrative elements like that means you're not fully explaining what's going on. Like, I think that was Dr. Grey, but because you haven't seen Dr. Grey before, you have to make the guess that when he takes his hood off, oh, is that meant to be Dr. Grey? But I was just assuming it was Dr. Grey from the beginning. I mean, from the end, it looked like our father, but we don't know who that is, unless we assume that that's Dr. Grey, which raises a lot of very kind of weird student-teacher kind of questions. Even in a university, student-mentor position kind of things, they're a bit... maybe not. Abuse of power. Awkward. Uncomfortable. And so I don't know. There were some elements that were really... Some puzzles for me were quite confusing. Were kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And then you get that kind of hit of, oh, right, this is how you do it, which is kind of reminiscent of Portal. I think the kind of main difference, kind of in the structure of the puzzles, was in Portal, they were a lot more sandbox, a lot more open-ended of, here are the basic things of the portals, and because of that, you just go through one portal, and there are many different ways to do the same puzzle. In this game, a lot of the puzzles seem to have very, very definite solutions. So you solve this puzzle in this way, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just a difference. So it means you kind of need to work through things, and you need to solve things using the tools you have available, and that leaves one road. Like in, was it the last puzzle? It may have been the last puzzle. You had to use the skull to block the laser, so you had to trigger that to come down, so you could then drop down and use the skull to block the laser, and then change back so that you had the box blocking it. And I think that's kind of an interesting way of using things. But again, if you don't do that, you die, as we found out several times. So it's a very kind of, I think it's probably a more kind of logic-focused puzzle. And I don't mean that to say that the Portal games weren't logic-based, but it was more, I don't want to say linear, because I don't like the idea of saying puzzle games are linear, because that's kind of what they are. You go from one puzzle to the next, in that sense. But it was a lot more kind of, here is the solution, whereas in Portal, it's a lot more kind of freeform and sandbox, and it's a solution. I think in other puzzles in this game, they were a lot more freeform. You got to kind of mess with things in a slightly different way. But I think there were quite a few puzzles where it's, this is what you have to do. You have to use these colours in this way, and you have to change these things like this. I did like the different kind of elements they had. It had the lasers added some kind of threat to a puzzle, rather than just I fell down to a pit, or I got confused and I didn't know what I was doing and I had to restart. They added some major threat that you had to focus on. The platforming and the jumping from platform to platform, I think the couple of puzzles we had with those in, I don't think were as good in my view. There we go. But I did like the paint when we added that. That was quite interesting that you could then add color to certain things or change the color of certain things so that they could then be used in another way. Again, the skulls were kind of a different kind of threat to the lasers. They were quite good to, kind of interesting to add, just to kind of make it so that you had to think about things. There were quite a few kind of rolling boulder kind of puzzles where you had to kind of basically very quickly change color, and some of them were a bit more difficult, unnecessarily so, I would say. The controls were a bit wonky at times. Like, I'd try to change to a particular color, and then the game would turn around and say, "No, you didn't change that color. You changed to this color instead. Bad. You meant this color." Like, no, I meant that color. And watching it in editing, it looks like you just sweep up. I just swept up a couple of times to the color I wanted, but the game still gave me a different color, like the one slightly below or the one slightly up above, kind of one round clockwise or anti-clockwise, just to make kind of, I don't know, just that kind of thing was frustrating in that it was rather nuanced. I don't know, maybe it's my controller, because I am having similar problems with Assassin's Creed. I have been having the same problems with Assassin's Creed Chronicles, where characters aren't doing exactly what I want them to do. But I don't know if that's because my controller's wonky, or if the games just don't seem to like controllers that much. This game does say that it's the controller is better for it. I don't know. I didn't try keyboard and mouse. Maybe I should have done. It would have probably given me more control over what the colors were, thinking about it, because I assume you would pick them using the mouse. So there are those kind of elements to kind of think about. Maybe I should have tried. Maybe I think if I were reviewing it as doing a proper review rather than just kind of here are my thoughts at the end, I think I probably would have made sure I played it with both with the controller and with the keyboard and mouse. And I haven't. So I should probably stop talking about the controls like that. But yes. So I really like the puzzles. Similar to Portal, the kind of story is kind of picked up in little things. I think I would have liked a little bit more of an actual idea of what happened in the end. Like, who was the guy we saw? Like, it was like, oh, you've got to make the decision about true color yourself and how you see things. And that showed the mother and father. And I think the father was the guy in the cowl, but I thought the guy in the cowl was Dr. Gray. And we go back, and there's little bits of kind of confusion. Maybe there are some things I missed. Maybe getting all the beakers kind of extends the ending, gives you a bit more to work with. I don't know. And I'm not sure I want to kind of go digging through all of the levels in search of the other beakers I don't have, so as to see if there is a secret ending for getting everything. I think I'm kind of running out of ideas. I think I did like the music. Music, I think, is one of those really difficult things to discuss in kind of a review thoughty things, because it's meant to be background music. If you comment on it in kind of frequently, it's not background music, it's not doing its job, or you're commenting on how bad it is and how distracting it is. So good background music is very complicated, because it's meant to kind of focus you on what's going on in the foreground, in this case the game. In films, it's the film or whatever, and that kind of encourages you to focus on the main thing and to build up the kind of emotional response that kind of they're going for. So it's kind of difficult to talk about the music. It is good, I like the music, but it's kind of hard to talk about because I can't remember it in a great deal of scenes, which tells me it probably did a good thing. It's like doing sound. I do sound at church, and you've done well when no one comments on it, because it means no one was distracted by it going wrong. So the music must have fit the game, which is always a good thing. I do actually like this menu piece though, so it's not that bad that we're talking through it, kind of talking over the kind of main screen with it kind of looping round and round. And there we go. And I wonder if they've got like if they've done anything similar to this, because this was quite fun. I'll have to have a look. But I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I suppose we'll find out together. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching. Oh, hello. Post-credit sequence. Good morning, Hugh. Isn't it great to be home? Everything's back the way it should be. There's butterflies! Butterflies! Hey, little landlubber. It's so great to see you two reunited. You both slept the whole way back. You must have been so tired. Your mother is back, Hugh. Wonderful. What a relief it must be. Okay, so this must be so you can go back to... I mean, this must be, I would guess, so you could, if you wanted to, you could go and get those beaker collector things. Yeah, because this is how we started, isn't it? Down into the mine. Let's have a look. I would assume so. Yes, this is the very beginning again. So I assume it just puts you right back here, so you can get the beakers if you want. So, for example, I can look at the map, and it tells you. Does it tell you how many meat beakers you've got? No, it does. No, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. So we've only gotten 4 of the beakers apparently, and there's some all over the place. Ah. So you can skip from area to area. Okay. So we could go through and get all of the beakers, but I don't really kind of 100% games. I just play through them to the end of the story, and we got to the end of the story, I think. Unless we didn't. I might see if that's the end of the story, or if you are meant to go and get all the beakers. I doubt it. I don't think this game doesn't seem to me to feel like that. So I think this will be the end, but we'll find out next time. I might play something completely new, or if there is a lot more to the story for getting all of the beakers, I might go and do those. We'll find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.